In the affordable watches category, there are always alternatives to more expensive and hard to get watches. Maybe you've heard about the Rolex Oyster Perpetual alternative, the Omega Aquaterra alternative, or maybe you've heard about the best $100 Rolex alternative. But in the world where every expensive watch has an affordable alternative, there is a brand that, in my opinion, is the best alternative to the alternative, and is not a homage watch. This watch is not a copy or a replica of a reputable brand that offers the same value for the money at 99% less than the original one. I'm talking about a watch brand that comes from Japan and that has a lot of history behind with the original design, and that is an alternative to a Rolex alternative. Orient TriStar line has always been seen as an alternative for the Seiko 5 line that I previously called the best alternative to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, not only for the looks, but for the value that you get for such affordable price. The Orient TriStar offers the same specs and the same robust construction of a Seiko 5, but for far less money. Just like Seiko offers the Seiko 5 line for the ones that don't want to spend a fortune on their watches, Orient offers the Orient TriStar. It is not a specific model, but a whole line. The TriStar line emerged in the early 70s. Pinpointing its exact launch date is tricky due to the limited information. However, considering the early TriStar models used Orient's caliber 469 movement, introduced in 1971, the TriStar line likely debuted around 1971 or shortly after. I've been an Orient customer for about 6 years now, and at first I bought an Orient TriStar, this exact watch for $50 brand new with box and papers. Papers that don't hold any value for the watch because this watch is not meant to be an investment. But I bought it first because I wanted a watch that can be used daily without the risk of losing a lot of money in the case that it breaks during my daily rush, at the same time to have a reliable movement and a luxurious look. As soon as I got it out of the box, I adjusted the bracelet and I wore it for 2 months straight. It was and it is still one of my most complimented watches. At first sight, it reminds me of a vintage Omega watch from the 70s combined with a Rolex Datejust from the same period. Inside, this model is powered by a reputable workhorse of movement. Today's TriStar line uses the automatic caliber F4902 that, from my knowledge about watch movements, it has a pretty close resemblance to the 7S26 from Seiko, with the same 41 hours power reserve, non-hackable, no hand-winding capability, and a noisy rotor. The accuracy of it after 6 years is plus 5 seconds a day, no matter the position of it and the type of activity. Quite close to the COSC accuracy requirements. Just like a 7S26, it features a day and date complication, with a day language in both English and Spanish. For some users, being an annoying feature that disrupts the symmetry of the dial, which in fact does, but I always prefer a day and date complication for a watch that I wear every day. But at first sight, not the specs of the movement were the things that made me buy it, but the looks of it. This particular model features a nice silver sunburst dial paired with some baton-shaped indices and small lume dots for a little bit of added practicality. Not the best lume, not even decent I should say, but it is there. I know that a lot of people will complain about the golden indices paired with the silver dial, but you have to trust me, it looks better in person. This video and their pictures on their website don't display the real potential of this watch. Thus, the true potential of the dial is better displayed in the full sunlight, where the sunburst throws a lot of reflections and shadows, making it sometimes look better than its Seiko counterpart. The logo is just as it is on every Orient watch, but the 3 stars aspire to a luxury image that from afar could trick some people into thinking that the watch is a pretty expensive one. The case construction, even at 37mm width, It's made to be robust, thick enough to show its presence but slim enough not to bother the owner throughout the day. As we already know Orient, this watch comes with a stainless steel case, built to last for years and years, and for $50, the price that I paid for it 6 years ago, it's nice to know that your watch will show no damage or corrosion. Other than scratches, this watch will show no traces of corrosion like other fashion brands that use chrome-plated brass cases. On the back of the watch, we can see a screwed-in case back that doesn't display the movement, bringing the modest aspect of the Japanese culture alongside. For this price, you can already guess the water resistance of this watch. 30 meters of water resistance are enough for a watch like this. As you could probably see, it is not a watch meant to be worn near water. But the surprising part is that I wore it washing the dishes and even washing my car, where I had to fully immerse the watch in soapy water, with no damage at all. I think this translates to a Casio-like water resistance, where the manufacturer makes sure that the actual water resistance is better than the one stated on the case back. I have the confirmation from other Orient and Seiko owners that the 30 meters water resistant versions are usually pretty resistant to water, usually exceeding expectations from a watch like this. So after some experiences like this, I gained full trust in its gaskets, and I use it even in the shower, and as you can see, this watch runs and looks just like new. After some years, of course, it shows some scratches, but it seems that I've been a gentle user when looking at the crystal, which is only mineral, making it prone to scratches. Of course, I could easily replace it with a very cheap sapphire, but as long as it is not broken, don't try to fix it. For those $50 paid 6 years ago, I'm pretty surprised by the finishing of the case. The case finish is even better than the one on the Seiko 5. It features sharp, polished and brushed surfaces, telling us that even at an affordable price, Orient wants to offer its users the best experience and even a gateway watch for new watch enthusiasts. And because it is very close to the Seiko 5, I usually wear it with a Seiko 5 bracelet that share the same lug width of 90mm, and in my opinion, the Seiko bracelet fits better to the brushed case. It firstly came with a folded links stainless steel bracelet, but the polished center links looked more from another line, so I ended up wearing it with a Seiko one. That, like I said in my Seiko 5 review, it is comfortable and brings a vintage vibe with it. If I want to critique the bracelet, yes, both of them have a cheap feeling and a rattlesnake sound when shaken. But for that price, come on. I usually try to look on the bright side and think that the folded links bracelets always bring the vintage vibe up front, making the wearability experience a throwback in time experience. So why did I mention at the beginning of this video that this watch is the alternative to the Seiko 5 or the alternative to the alternative of the Rolex Datejust? First of all, it was considerably cheaper than the Rolex and cheaper than the Seiko 5 offerings for the same high quality and same history and the need. Orient is more a brand of a true watch enthusiast that sees more than just a watch, but a whole Japanese cultural experience, starting from the attention to the detailed dial to the movement that can last even 20 years without being serviced. Of course, it is not advised to leave your watch without a service for that long, but for this price you can forget about the service and get a new one, and still keep more money in your pocket than servicing it. Of course, it has a lot of flaws like the lack of hand winding, the lack of hacking feature, and the water resistance that for a lot of users might be the turning point where, for a bit more money, they could choose a Chinese homage that has all the features that you get from a high-end brand, but minus the history. But Orient is for true watch enthusiasts that appreciate the brand and their commitment to being focused mainly on watchmaking and history, and not on the contemporary trends and currents. Looking in my watch box, I even tried other variants from Orient TriStar, and they offer the same value. It is not an isolated case. It is a model and the brand itself that gets you a lot of value for the money. I will continue to wear it, and if you want to get one as the one featured in this review, check the description of this video. I have some links for you to find it easier in case you want to buy it. Unfortunately, as per inflation everywhere, the prices went up for these models as well, going up to $200 today, keeping up with the Seiko 5 counterparts. I found them in Europe a little bit cheaper in some stores, going for around 80-100 euros. But they are really hard to get, and I see that the stocks get emptied quickly. And in case you liked this review, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to support this channel, don't forget to press the subscribe button for future watch reviews. My name is Ed, and I see you in the next one.